eye movement desensitization reprocessing. Whew, what a mouthful. EMDR. Hi, my name is Sierra Lesby. I'm a trauma specialist, mental health professional, and I want to talk to you today about EMDR, how it works, and why I love it. Why I love EMDR is that because unlike traditional, more talk CBT based therapy, which of course has its place, not putting it down, but what that type of traditional work does is that if you picture trauma like a cut, a wound, that type of work puts a band-aid over the wound. Okay, and band-aids, what do? They tend to fall off, and you have to replace them. EMDR, on the other hand, goes in and we're able to remove the scar tissue so that healthy tissue can take up its space, right? So it's a more long-term, effective approach to healing trauma. EMDR was created by a woman. Woo! And she was walking through the woods one day and looking at trees. And she was thinking about some hard things that she went through in her life. And she noticed over time that every time I leave these woods, my perception on these hard things it's shifting, it's changing. Something is changing in how I feel in my story and my narrative. So she was a scientist. So she's like, I want to study this. I got to figure this out. She did. She found out that by bilaterally stimulating, in this case, her eyes were moving side to side, left to right, crossing in the midline. By bilaterally stimulating our bodies while we think about traumatic events in the form of memories or felt sensation or thoughts, magic happens. We're able to replace, change, evolve those negative memories and turn them into something that's more adaptive. Now, I will say, for the purpose of this video, trigger warning, I'll be using the example of a car accident. So if that's something that's triggering for you and could put you in a state of distress by listening, go ahead and turn this video off, jump onto another one of my videos, and please let me know in the comments section. I'd be happy to make another video not using a car accident scenario. For today's purposes, this is going to be our brain. It's an octopus, I know, but today it's going to be a brain. So with EMDR, we're doing a lot of cool brain science, which is why I love it so much. It's not just, it's deeper than just thinking differently. It is actually changing the way that our brain is structured and the way that we think about ourselves and the world. Okay, so here's our brain. Here is your brain. And here is your brain on trauma. So let's say you get into, unfortunately, a car accident. Everyone's okay for the most part, but it was scary. Okay, your brain and body felt like you were stuck in an uncomfortable situation. So that fits with our trauma definition. And so because you were in that accident, your brain creates a neural pathway. And this neural pathway may say, I am not safe. Okay. And that neural pathway stays there. And it gets really sticky. Okay. So then, as you're living your life and other situations come up, anything that might trigger the fear come up. Maybe there's a movie with a car accident in it. Maybe you're supposed to hop in the car with a friend and go to the movies. Maybe you have to get in your car to go to work. All of a sudden, that little thing becomes a part of this neural pathway and it sticks to it. Okay, so over time, we end up with all of these sticky situations along the neural pathway that enforces for us, I am not safe. That's a problem, right? Because we need to get in the car to go to work. to fulfill our destinies, our dreams. We need to get in the car, probably to go visit friends and have a social life and have social support, to go to our doctor's appointments and make sure that our bodies are healthy. That's really important, right? So in EMDR, using bilateral stimulation, our goal is to take this neural pathway, this pesky little neural pathway that's saying, I am not safe, and it's popping up in all of these unhelpful situations. We're going to take that neural pathway and we're going to put a new one on it. We're going to cover that bad boy up with a more adaptive belief. It could be as basic as I am safe, or it could be more complex. Like, I'm learning that it's safe for me to do scary things. That's a lot more adaptive, right? And a lot more understanding. So before getting in the car, you might say, yeah, I recognize this is a scary thing, but I'm also learning how to do these things to be the best version of myself, right? So for some of us, there's just one neural pathway that's problematic. For some of us, we have like a whole highway of neural pathways that are problematic, and that's complex trauma, right? When maybe we've lived our life and over and over and over again, our whole octopus brain is covered in these negative belief systems. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I have to achieve wonderful things to feel loved, right? I should have done more. I did the wrong thing. I always do the wrong thing. These are negative beliefs that drag us down in daily life, in relationships, in work, in every facet of our life, right? So it behooves us to replace them with new pathways. So let's all thank Mr. Octopus. Thank you, Octopus. You did a great job being a brain today. And thank you, Masking Tape. You did a great job being neuropathways. So EMDR, right? How is it going to look in a therapy session? You can do EMDR virtually, or you can do it in person. There's a lot of different ways you can achieve the bilateral stimulation. I will say EMDR, save it for therapy. It's not something that you want to do at home. It's not something I recommend that you do on your own, simply because it's delicate. It's important, right? And it really requires the help of a professional who knows what they're doing. We'll do another video a little bit later about how to find an EMDR therapist who knows what they're doing. So keep watching and you'll learn about that too later. I just want to talk a little bit about what EMDR looks like, right? So sometimes you'll go into a therapist office and they'll have a bar and it looks like an electric kind of device, and there's a light that goes across the bar. And your job while you're doing the EMDR, and your therapist is going to talk you through this, is to watch the light. Go back and forth with your eyes. They'll tell you how to do it, when to do it, everything like that. You don't have to worry about any of that. I just want to give you an idea of what it might look like. Or a therapist might use their hand. They might sit here with you and take their hand and go back and forth, and you follow that hand with your eyes. It's another way that we do it. Another way that we can do it is tactily. So some therapists will have what I call buzzies. They're tappers. They're these little round plastic things that you hold in your hand, and they don't electrocute you by any means. There's no shock. It's just a vibration, and they vibrate, and they vibrate. Left, right, left, right. And guess what? They have settings. So it can be more intense, less intense. You can make sure that it's comfortable for you and that it's fast enough or slow enough for what you need. Another way that we can do EMDR is by self-tapping. So when I'm working with a client virtually, I'll often have them just do the tapping on their own. Okay? And so that can happen in what we call butterfly hugs. You can tap your thighs. Some therapists have headphones that you can wear that provide auditory stimulation from right to left. If you're doing EMDR with a kid, this is so cool. You can have drumsticks and you can beat the drums back and forth. to reprocess trauma. I love that. I guess you don't have to be a kid to do that either. I have a friend whose therapist has a magic wand and she uses the magic wand. And before every session, you get to pick the crystal that goes on top of the wand and you get to watch the crystal that you chose go back and forth across. How fun is that? The cool thing about EMDR is that you can get creative. You can use a part of yourself that you don't usually use, which is your imagination. I'm not going to get into the deep nitty gritty of what EMDR does today. This video is simply to let you know what you're getting into for the most part if you're seeing an EMDR therapist. Or maybe you're seeing a cognitive therapist that you really like and you think, hey, maybe I want to add EMDR to my practice and I want to go see an EMDR therapist for, a few sessions, right? And work through some trauma so that I can come back to my other therapist who I feel really safe with and do more work. It's all options. It's all up to you how you do your trauma work. If you have questions about EMDR, please do not hesitate to reach out in the comments. I always recommend going to emdria.org as a way to learn more about EMDR because, obviously anybody can make a, a blog about it or a video about it. But Emdria has a lot of awesome research-based stuff that you can read about to learn more about EMDR. Thank you for listening today, and I hope this helps. Bye.